I was 10 years old the first time my parents decided to leave me home with a babysitter. They were a tad bit overprotective, but after a referral from my mother's friend Mary, they decided to give one a chance. I was informed the morning they were leaving that her name was Miss Claretta, and that she would be waiting for me when I got home from school. I wonder if she'll have candy, I thought to myself on the ride home. I arrived at my stop, said goodbye to my friends, and began my walk. I was quite eager to meet Miss Claretta. My mother told me she was a brilliant woman, and she had 4 degrees in child education. She also was bringing over Yahtzee, which at the time was one of my favorite games. I approached the front door to find Miss Claretta out there waiting for me. "Hello," she said, in a soft, sweet voice. A voice that could probably read the hell out of a bedtime story. I introduced myself and she said it was a pleasure. She guided me inside and asked if I wanted to play a game of Yahtzee and enjoy a nice healthy snack. "Sounds like a plan," I said with a smile. She grinned at me and we started the festivities. She had a tray of cheese and crackers. Laid beside the snacks were 2 score sheets, rolling dice, and the shake cup. We agreed that she'll go first since she was a guest. And on her first roll, she got 4 fours. "Wow, you're pretty good," I said. "Well, no shit, you little fucker. That's what real niggas do," she replied. A bit cocky, I admit, but 4 of a kind would make the best of us gloat. "Hopefully you can get 1 more," I said. She told me to shut the fuck up and said watch and learn. After 2 more tries, she couldn't do it and had to settle with 16, sadly. She seemed a bit irritated, a little bit frustrated, so I tried to defuse the situation and told her it was a nice try. I reached for the cup and she handed it over. Under her breath, she called me a faggot. Being 10, I assumed it was a nickname, so I embraced it. "Come on, Lady Luck," I said. I then gave the cup 3 shakes and threw out the dice. On my first try, I got a Yahtzee, with all 6s. I was quite excited, but Miss Claretta maintained irritated. She said if I was going to cheat, she wasn't going to play anymore. I told her that I didn't cheat, and it was just a great roll. I told her it's all in the wrist and not to be a sore loser. She went ballistic. She began to scream obscenities. She told me to fuck off, and she even dropped the N-word a few times. She informed me that if I was going to continue lying, that I could spend the rest of the night in time out. She then slapped the plate of cheese and crackers I was going to eat off the table and told me to get the fuck out of her face before she taught me a lesson. Something came over me. I don't know if it was the fact she called me a cheater or if it was the whole cheese fiasco. But nevertheless, I should have just left it alone. But instead, I told Miss Claretta that her breath smelled like oatmeal, and I was going to tell my mommy on her. She, without hesitation, grabbed me. She pulled me across the knee and raised her hand in the air and said, "I warned you. Defiance is not acceptable." Then gave me the spanking of a lifetime. It lasted roughly 10 to 15 seconds, and I was utterly mortified. I ran to my room in shame and defeated. She won the battle, I thought with tears in my eyes, but not the war. I remained in my room for quite some time, plotting and trying to figure out just exactly what I was going to do. I called my friend Miriam, explained the situation, and she told me what I should do is call child services. Child services? Yeah, she replied. Just tell them Miss Claretta did something really gross, like stuck a finger in your butt, and they'll come and take her away. Are you sure about this? I said. You have to be absolutely sure. Miriam told me it was bulletproof and provided me the number to call. I told her thanks for the idea and said I'd call her later and give her the details. You better, slut, she replied. I then hung up and immediately called child services. I was connected with an operator and began to tell him what happened. I explained that I was tired from school, we had to run the mile and had a really important math test to take. I decided to take a nap when I heard my door creak. My babysitter, thinking I was asleep, lifted my covers, and she put a finger in my butt. The operator, in a shocked and disgusted voice, asked if she was still there. I said yes, and she was downstairs sniffing a finger and acting all weird. He told me to lock my door, and he was sending 3 officers over to check it out. Bingo. He told me to hang tight, and if Miss Claretta tried any funny business, to call him right back. I hung up the phone and I waited. About 15 minutes later, there was a loud knock at the door. I ran over to the top of the stairs to observe. I saw Miss Claretta walking towards the door when suddenly it flew open. 3 police officers swarmed in, guns drawn, and one with a pair of nunchucks. They called Miss Claretta a fucking pervert and told her to get on the goddamn ground. She told them that she didn't do anything and said she was innocent. That's it. Four shots were fired. Oh no. Oh no, Miss Claretta, I thought. The police officer got on his radio and called in for an ambulance. He said she came right after him. Miss Claretta then made a groaning noise, and with her last breath, she said, "No justice, no peace, fuck the police." She then passed away. Miss Claretta was carted out the house, and an officer stayed with me till my parents could get home. He took my official story down, and I didn't want to get in trouble, so I continued to lie. I said that she was really mean, and if I told anyone about this, that she was going to kill my mother. An officer stayed with me until my parents got home. They cried and hugged me, and then took me out for ice cream. Sometimes I feel bad about what occurred that night, but she shouldn't have called me a cheater. Miss Claretta, let's not meet again, because if we do, you'd be a ghost.